There's more to life than increasing its speed. Speeding up life is not enough. Sometimes that's very important to us. But there's more to life than just working hard and getting out there and getting with it. There's more to success, to prosperity, than just increasing our speed, because no matter how fast you and I might go as an individual, we can never go fast enough to do the things that we need to do if we're depending upon our own power, upon our own abilities. Next to love, quietness. And in the quietness of your being, you will experience love, and you will hear it speak to you. You have tonight. At any moment that you pause along the way and become quiet, become still, you will hear love speak to you when you become still. Be still and know that love is with you. And God's love sees you always well and happy and abundantly provided for. It's love's nature to provide for its own. Do you think that you were created so that you would not be sustained? The very love that shaped you and formed you in the beginning of yourself has made adequate provisions for your every need, no matter what that need might be. The health of your body, the health of your mind, and the unfolding abundance of all good things in your life. Rest assured of that, and if we have not experienced it in that manner, it's only because we haven't believed it. We have not become still and rested in love. We've been going too fast. We thought that our own speed would get us there, did we not? Now, love has put you in business. Your life is your business. And it won't take you very long to determine, if you will pause and look at it in this manner, to see how well your business is being run. How are you managing your business? How is the business of your life being conducted? Well, your business is to get what belongs to you, and that which belongs to you is all that the Father has. All that your perfect parent has is yours to experience. Nothing less than that good will satisfy your mind. And how do you partake of that good that is yours? Well, we've been talking about that now for 4 weeks. This is the 5th week. You do that by thinking about the omnipresent substance of God and how you can lay hold of it through love. Through your own love. Love is the world's greatest attractive power. Tonight we're talking about the law that governs the manifestation of prosperity and of all supply, and that law is the law of love. I think it's safe to say that every person that's here tonight is striving to fulfill the law of their being. It's also safe to say that every person on earth is striving to fulfill the law of their being. The problem is that we have not understood the nature of the law of our being. And to understand the law is one of the most important things that we can study, because only as we understand and begin to comply with the terms of the law can we have the experience that the law has in store for us. We must fulfill the conditions. And if we fulfill the conditions, the experience then is spontaneously, automatically, and effortlessly ours. The law that governs the manifestation of prosperity and supply is love. It's the law of love. But what is prosperity? We've been talking about it now for a month. And remember that Mr. Webster said that prosperity is the condition of being successful or thriving, a state of vigorous and healthy growth, well-being. Prosperity would be all of those things that comprise your well-being, a multitude of things. The word prosperity comes from two Latin words, pro, spere, according to hope. According to hope. According to what you have hoped for, implying that hope preceded the experience. And hope, we know, is an invisible something in the mind. There must be something in the mind that precedes the experience. Whatever the experience you're having, something must have preceded it. And the problem with most people is that they have not really hoped for very much. Is it not true that most people on the earth have really not expected very much new to happen to them? We settle down into a pattern and expect that pattern to continue to be our experience. We don't want it that way or like it that way, but do we not expect it? That's what we hope for, and that's what we get. So unless we can change our expectancy, what we hope for, unless we can come up with some new and dynamic, exciting ideas about new possibilities for us, there will not be a new experience for us. In the Revealing Word, Mr. Fillmore says that prosperity is the consciousness of God as the abundant, everywhere present source, unfailing, ready for all who open themselves to it through faith. Faith or expectancy. Through hoping, but hoping in a very positive way. They that seek Jehovah shall not want any good thing. Now, these are only definitions of a word. But what is prosperity in your life? What is prosperity as it becomes more than a word, but something that is in the experience in life all around us? Well, I can tell you what it is to Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown is talking to Linus. And he said, I hate to see the sun go down. I've wasted another day. And Linus said, what do you consider a day not wasted? And Charlie Brown said, a day where I meet the girl of my dreams, am elected president of our country, and win the Nobel Prize and hit a home run. And Linus said, I can understand why you'd hate to see the sun go down. Do you really expect some new and exciting things to happen to you? They cannot. Prosperity is not the thing that happens. Prosperity is the consciousness that expects it to happen. If you have the expectancy, the event must take place. If you had thought prosperity was something that was going to happen to you, kind of hit you up beside your head when you were gazing off down the street, that is not prosperity because it doesn't happen that way. Prosperity is the state of beingness that expects with excitement and with feeling and will not settle for less than it expects. And to that person, life will be a continuing experiences of exciting unfolding events. And other people will say how lucky that guy is. Not so. To his neighbors, he was obviously mad. They had heard from his gardener how he could spend weeks on end watching earthworms crawling around in the dirt. Having been told that the sound of music affected the growth of plants, he employed a man for a month to play a trombone to a row of beans. The man was Charles Darwin. Was he prosperous? I don't know how much money he left in his estate, but I ask you, was he prosperous? Through him did not there move a series of unfolding events and a level of understanding that has changed the life of all of us? You bet. I can tell you what prosperity is for Rick Forzano. You know who he is, don't you? He's the coach of the Detroit Lions. I can also tell you how Forzano achieved his most recent experience of prosperity. Let me read to you excerpts from an article in the Detroit Free Press on Monday, November the 3rd by the columnist Jerry Green. And Green said, Rick Forzano gives the city a team it can applaud honestly. Since Forzano became coach of the Detroit Lions, there has been perpetual adversity in his life. But this man is not a martyr. He possesses a firm and true faith, and he infects his football team with his belief, and the response is beautiful and warm. The Lions are not a playoff team, but they are a team now, and this is a tribute to Forzano and his unshakable faith. For the first time since the 5-week comeback of 1970, the Lions are a team we can embrace with civic pride. It was Forzano who kept his team from disintegrating. He prevented chaos in the preseason, and he refused to permit the crushing effect of pathos last week when Munson and Landry crumbled and Reed went sick to the hospital. And for those of you that don't know, no one can remember in professional football when two first-string quarterbacks were injured almost simultaneously within minutes in a game, neither tackled by an opposing player, both sent to the hospital at the same time for the same surgery. And then the third-string quarterback, the only remaining quarterback on the team, experienced a severe case of flu that hospitalized him in the same hospital. And this was not a very good football team to begin with. And so they went to the West Coast, and everyone expected them to lose except Forzano. He repeated his vows yesterday at halftime when the Lions trailed the 49ers 10-0 before scoring 4 touchdowns in 8 minutes for the 28-17 victory. Now, it's appropriate to repeat his creed. It is the 10 articles of life he carries with him. It's the 10 articles of life that he carries with him. And my friends, this man does not carry them with him in his pocket. He carries them with him in his consciousness. And I ask you, what articles of life are you carrying with you in your consciousness? Because that is your creed, and that is your life, and that is what you are reflecting, and that is your poverty if you're experiencing poverty, or that is your prosperity if you're experiencing prosperity. The creed that you carry is your living experience. You and I have studied this creed because last year we did a class on the greatest salesman in the world by Og Mondino, remember? And these 10 articles of the creed are from this book. And Forzano lives by them. Let me read them to you from this article. Today, I begin a new life. Let me ask each one of us, have we started a new life not only today, but in this series? Have we started our lives over? I'm talking about really now. Have you really committed yourself at the very depths of your being to begin your life again, a rebirth, the beginning again with dedication to live your life from this moment on the way you should have and could have from the beginning? Number 2, I will greet this day with love in my heart. Number 3, I will persist until I succeed. Are you ready to persist, to continue, no matter what happens in your life, no matter what adversity comes to you, no matter what discouraging event transpires in your life, no matter what the score is at halftime, will you persist? Number 4, I am nature's greatest miracle. You are nature's greatest miracle because you contain within yourself the seed of everything that you will ever need from life. All that you need, you are. But you need to know that you are. And we've come to believe that I am prosperity. I am that which God has caused me to be. Number 5, I will live this day as if it is my last. Number 6, today I will be master of my emotions. Number 7, I will laugh at the world. I will not take myself and my life too seriously. I will have fun. I will rejoice. Number 8, today I will multiply my value 100-fold. Number 9, I will act now. Number 10, I will pray for guidance. And the article continues. How could it be that they don't have a team and they're winning a game? Wondered a casually interested viewer during the third quarter upsurge yesterday. A sports writer sitting in the press box marveled. He said, they don't have a ball club and they're winning the game. How can this be? Well, you and I know how it can be. And Green just pointed to the 10 articles of faith that is the creed of Rick Forzano. And he goes on to say the Lions were an intrepid team at San Francisco, and it's worth some proud giggling to our community. And so it is. There was the turning point in the ball game. A linebacker, and as you know, they're not very fast. He broke through and stripped the ball from the opposing quarterback, and the ball just happened to bounce up into his arms, and he ran 51 yards for a touchdown. You see, when your attitude is right, the ball bounces right. Did you know that? You know that, don't you? Yes. I can give you some examples of what prosperity is becoming to some of you. There's a person here tonight who was telling me the story of how he needed prosperity, but more than a demonstration of prosperity in the form of money, he needed to believe that these principles work, that God is tangible and real and responding. And so, a few nights ago, he sat up late in meditation, speaking to the power, becoming aware of that universal substance that is responsive and all around, and saying, I will remain here until I believe. I won't go to bed until I have the feeling that you are with me responding. And he said he sat up a little later than he thought he was going to have to. But you know how that is. And finally, when the feeling came, he went to bed with the absolute sense that all was well, that something had happened inside him, and therefore something was going to happen in his life. There would be a response in his life. The next day, his boss called him long distance from California. I was led to believe that that's not a normal experience for his boss. Especially to say, you're doing a marvelous job, and it just occurred to me that I would like to give you a $2,000 raise. Would you call that a sign? Now, let me ask you this. Which was most important, the $2,000 raise or the demonstration? The knowing that life responds to your consciousness. That when you really come to believe something with feeling, and it becomes so real inside you that it lives, then it must live outside you as an experience. I know what prosperity is to Louise, who came up to join us from Dallas at our recent healing seminar. Some of you are nodding your heads. You know her. And she has been confronted with, her doctor said, an advanced state of carcinoma, of cancer. She was at a healing seminar, and then on Sunday morning she sat right here where you are, Phyllis. She was caught up in this consciousness and came to believe that she was healed. She called me from her hospital bed yesterday after surgery, and the doctors reported that there is no trace of cancer. And all of the tests had indicated that it was there. Would you call that prosperity? Would you call that a demonstration? Would you call the consciousness of this person prosperity consciousness? I know what it is to Noreen. I saw her yesterday in her hospital room. Of all the people that I saw, her smile was the brightest yesterday. And just a month ago, the doctors had indicated to her that she might not leave the room, and had even more strongly indicated so to her friends. Now they tell her that she'll go home in a week. She still is not able to get up and walk, but she was so happy. The idea of being able to walk down the corridor and out the door and down the street, to be able to once again be a participating, moving, feeling part of life. Did I hear anyone say that they have a problem? Has there been something pecking away at your consciousness? Not really. Not really. What does the word prosperity mean to you? What does it really mean to you? Last week, remember, we talked of forming a partnership with God, and I hope that you have been actively involved this week in forming your own team, your own mastermind team. And Webster says that team is a number of persons associated in some joint action. I know a number of you have formed mastermind groups, and you've been working with your team for your mutual good, and already some exciting things have started unfolding for those who have formed their groups. But one of the most exciting things that a number of people have reported to me is not just the events that have taken place, but the new strength and direction that is within them. Maybe nothing has happened yet, but the feeling of certainty that a new experience is unfolding is there, in them. That's a marvelous feeling.
This concludes Side A. Now, please fast forward to the end and turn the cassette over for the continuation of Prosperity Principles That Work.
We have established our partnership with God. Now, if we are in partnership with God, the nature of that partnership must be of love, because God is love. We cannot maintain our part of the partnership. We cannot fulfill the law of life, the law of prosperity, unless we comply with the law of love. Because the power of God, the sustaining, healing, providing power of love, is going to be the source of our energy, strength, inspiration. Is that correct? That is our source. That is our prosperity. Now, this is going to require then a system and a creed. We're going to have a team to work with, and we're going to have a game plan, and we're going to have the courage to stick to that game plan, because prosperity is not just going to happen to us because we want it or need it. It can only happen as we are willing to continue to fulfill the conditions of it. And we must be willing to practice, to go out onto the practice field and practice and practice. Any professional must practice. Is that right? If you're going to be good at anything, you're going to have to practice it, and you're going to have to love it, and you're going to have to enjoy it and enter into it with everything that is in you. Now, if you're going to play the game of your life so that the business of your life becomes a rewarding and prospering and sustaining business that keeps you provided for, it's going to require some practice and some effort. It can't be something that just happens. It will require effort. And effort in the mind. Until we learn the rudiments of self-control, we fit James Allen's description in the book As a Man Thinketh, when he said, men are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. Therefore, they remain bound. You may think that you could live better and do more good if you had lots of money. Did you ever think that? Things would not be a bit better with any one of us, though, if we had $1 million, unless we also had the understanding to use it for the good of ourselves and of others. Would you give a child $1 million to go buy candy and ice cream for himself? No, nor life is not about to do the same for us. You see, we must evolve with our possessions until we achieve the ability to handle them. We must grow to the point that we can handle those things that we want life to give us, and handle them on life's terms, which are the terms of love. And that's what we're doing here now. We're learning how to handle our minds. We're willing to grow along spiritual lines. And so we should pray for just as much each day as we need or as we can handle. Give us this day our daily bread. But then at the same time, let's pray also to be able to handle more. God, only give me what I can use, but give me the ability to use more and to use it wisely. You remember Moses. We talk a lot about Moses. Remember that Moses could not go into the promised land. Remember? Now, the promised land was not just some real estate across the Jordan River. The promised land in the Bible was that four-dimensional state of consciousness in which the fulfilling of the law of prosperity was promised to the children of Israel. And the reason that he could not was that Moses metaphysically stands for the first movement of the action of mind, the law of negation, of denial. Remember that Joshua had to take the children of Israel into the promised land. And Joshua has a name that means exactly the same that the name of Jesus means. And he's the one that entered the promised land and opened the way for the children of Israel. Moses was the lawgiver, and Jesus was, in his own words, the fulfillment of that law. Let me read to you a story that we could spend hours on, but we won't. It's a complete lesson on prosperity. Jesus had just gone across the lake by boat. There was a vast crowd gathered on the other shore. And the leader of the local synagogue, whose name was Jairus, the leader of the local synagogue, he must have been in charge of a mastermind group. And he was, because Jairus means one who is spiritually illumined. So the one who is spiritually illumined came to Jesus, who represents the Christ, and fell down before him, pleading with him to heal his little daughter. She's at the point of death, he said, in desperation. Please come and place your hands on her and make her well. Jesus went with him, and the crowd thronged behind him. In the crowd was a woman who had been sick for 12 years with a hemorrhage. She had suffered much from many doctors through the years and had become poor from paying them and was no better, but in fact was much worse. No man gave her anything. She could not find the answer or the solution at the human level. Have you had that experience in your life? Are you having it now? You can't find the answers where you are? Good. If you are spiritually illumined, if your name is Jairus, you will go to the Christ, to that consciousness. And this woman did also. She intuitively knew this. She had heard all about the wonderful miracles Jesus did. That's why she came up behind him through the crowd and touched his clothes. For she thought to herself, if I can just touch his clothing, I will be healed. Another version says the hem of his garment. Now this doesn't just mean the cloak that he wore. The clothing of that person is his consciousness. Your real clothing is not the suit or dress that you're wearing. You are clothed in a certain consciousness, are you not? You have an understanding that precedes you. What a man is speaks so loud, I can't hear what he says. You are constantly aware of the state of consciousness of other people. And the consciousness of some people draws you to them and others repels you from them. Is that not correct? That is their clothing. And if you can touch the hem of a very high consciousness, you will be healed. Well, where is this high consciousness? It's within ourselves. And what is the nature of this consciousness? Love. And sure enough, as soon as she had touched him, the bleeding stopped and she knew she was well. And there was an exchange between Jesus and her because he felt this energy go forth. And he said, your faith has made you well. Go in peace, healed of your disease. And while he was still talking to her, messengers arrived from Jairus' home with the news that he was too late. His daughter was dead and there was no point in Jesus coming now. But Jesus ignored their comments and said to Jairus, don't be afraid, just trust me. Then Jesus halted the crowd and wouldn't let anyone go on with him to Jairus' home except Peter and James and John. Now, who is the crowd? Who is the crowd as far as you're concerned? The crowd is that group of people that you know and live with in your life that aren't going anywhere. They're not going anywhere, and if you're going anywhere, you won't let them go on with you, will you? There's another crowd. Inside yourself, there's a crowd that speaks in negative tones, negative voices, negative ideas, negative emotions. And the Christ stopped and said, no. You cannot go with me into this experience. I'm going in here to make a very important demonstration. I'm going in here to perform a miracle. I'm going in here to sit down and stay here until I know that God has responded to my desire, to my expectancy, to my hope. And he only took Peter and James and John. Now, who are Peter and James and John? Peter represents the faculty of the mind that we call faith. It's the power of your mind to say yes to your good. James, intuitive understanding, intuitive wisdom. And John, love. John is love. And always when you need a miracle, you will say to the crowd, you cannot come. I'm going to take faith, expectancy, hope, and my intuitive understanding that all is well. Your intuition will speak to you, and it will tell you that I am with you. I am the power that has created you, and I am sustaining you. And if you will listen to your intuition and not listen to the voices outside, and if you will believe what you hear inside yourself, you will be healed. You will make your demonstration. When they arrived, Jesus saw that all was in great confusion, with unrestrained weeping and wailing. He went inside and spoke to the people. Why all this weeping and commotion, he asked. Have you found that in your life? Look around you in your life. Is there weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth? And have you been listening to that and believing in that? And he said, the child isn't dead, she's only asleep. And they laughed at him in bitter derision. But he told them all to leave, and taking the little girl's father and mother and his 3 disciples, his mastermind group, he took that group that believed the way he believed and was sustaining and supporting him, and he went into the room where she was lying. You go into the consciousness of where you thought the problem was. And taking her by the hand, he said to her, get up, little girl. She was 12 years old. 12 is the metaphysical number of fulfillment, remember? And she jumped up and walked around. Her parents just couldn't get over it. Jesus instructed them very earnestly not to tell what had happened, and told them to give her something to eat, to provide for her. Now, this very same love is speaking to you now and taking you by the hand, the little 12-year-old child that you are and that I am, the one whose number represents fulfillment. 12 means that you are fulfilled. You are ready to have this experience. You would not be here if you were not ready. And love is taking you by the hand and saying, get up. And she jumped up and walked around. Exclamation point. Can't you imagine with excitement? Are you ready to get up into your life and walk around with excitement? Are you ready to come alive is what this is saying to you. Are you ready to come alive and believe in life and start loving your life? Do you really love your life? Are you excited about your life? Because unless you are excited about your life in a new way, from a rebirth, from a new dedication inside yourself, that which you seek cannot become your experience. As you move out into your new experience, are you like the lions were last Sunday, fearless and dauntless? If you're not, remember that perfect love casteth out fear. Perfect love casteth out fear. In the scroll marked 2, in the creed that Forzano is using in his life and really using in his life, I will read to you in part. And hear this as that little child who has just been brought back to life. My love, who is being ushered into a new experience, a new opportunity to live life in a new way. Hear these words from this new self. I will greet this day with love in my heart, for this is the greatest secret of success in all ventures. Muscle can split a shield and even destroy life, But only the unseen power of love can open the hearts of men. And until I master this art, I will remain no more than a peddler in the marketplace. I will greet this day with love in my heart. But how will I react to the actions of others? With love. For just as love is my weapon to open the hearts of men, love is also my shield to repulse the arrows of hate and the spears of anger. Adversity and discouragement will beat against my new shield and become as the softest of rains. My shield will protect me in the marketplace, and it will sustain me when I am alone. I will greet this day with love in my heart. And how will I confront each whom I meet? In only one way. In silence and to myself, I will address him, and I will say, I love you. Though spoken in silence, these words will shine in my eyes, unwrinkle my brow, bring a smile to my lips, and echo in my voice. And his heart will be opened. And who is there that can say nay to me when his heart feels my love? Who on earth cannot respond to the love of God flowing through an individual? Before class this afternoon, a beautiful young girl who is a part of this experience had an appointment for a job that was very important to her at 3:30. She was so excited before class. But during class, as I read these words to her, I wish you could see now on a screen the picture of her face as she sat there with love flowing, and with the anticipation of carrying this feeling with her into that interview. I know who got the job. I don't know who else applied, but I know who got the job. Because all things being equal, you will hire the attitude. Talent will take you a long way, but your attitude will take you all the way. And talent and attitude combined are irresistible. You cannot fail. And you have the talent. You have everything that you need in your life to live your life. You are nature's greatest miracle. I will greet this day with love in my heart, and most of all, I will love myself. For when I do, I will zealously inspect all things which enter my body, my mind, my soul, my heart, and my life. Never will I overindulge the requests of my flesh. Rather, I will cherish my body with cleanliness and moderation. Never will I allow my mind to be attracted to evil and despair. Rather, I will uplift it with the knowledge and wisdom of ages. And he who has been depressed today has not loved himself today. If we settle for negative emotions, it means that we have a very poor love, respect for ourselves. Never will I allow my soul to become complacent and satisfied. Rather, I will feed it with meditation and prayer. Never will I allow my heart to become small and bitter. Rather, I will share it, and it will grow and warm the earth. Love. Not just to love the person that we're in love with, or the children, or the family. All people do that. And the master teachers have all said that's not enough. That isn't even love at all. When you and I can become so in love with life that every moment is an exciting experience. When we love the opportunities that we have. And know that the more we love, the more feeling that we put into the experience that is now ours, the more we have prepared ourselves for the larger good. And that this must be the law fulfilled in our lives. Because God, our partner, cannot provide for us through his love until our own minds and hearts become channels, living channels. God loves a prosperous person. Does that mean that God does not love an unprosperous person? Think about it. God can love a prosperous person more than an unprosperous person. Do you know why? Because God is an experience. When we begin to love God, when we begin to acknowledge God as the source of our good, and love ourselves so that we become channels of that good, and that good begins to flow into our lives, that permits God to love us. My friend, God loves you. All the cattle on 1,000 hills are yours. When the prophet said that, was he talking about livestock and cows and horses and sheep? No. He was talking about everything in God's kingdom, everything that you need, money and houses and lands and jobs and food and clothing and automobiles and healing for your body, peace and ease for your mind, everything that you need, you have because God loves you. All the cattle on 1,000 hills are yours. Believe that and feel that. And this week, go your way and 1,000 times say to yourself, all the cattle on 1,000 hills are mine because God loves me. And I will love to let God demonstrate to me this good. I will love my life. Moment by moment, I will eagerly look forward to the next unfolding experience, like a child whose hand has been taken and brought back to life. And I will run around the room of my world, of my life, with enthusiasm and excitement. Do you have the feeling for what I'm talking about? Do you? This is prosperity. Build this into your consciousness and you cannot fail. Because love never fails to fulfill its own. And you are its own, and all the cattle on 1,000 hills are yours. So it is.
This concludes the lesson on tape number 5. Now proceed to tape number 6 for the continuation of Prosperity Principles That Work.